Dear chosen ones, that radiant number 999 shining on the thumbnail pulled you to this video, didn't it? In the Christian faith, 99 signifies divine completion, the fullness of God's plan, and the transition into a new season of spiritual fulfillment, reflecting His perfect timing and purpose. This moment is no coincidence. The Holy Spirit has orchestrated your presence here for an urgent reason. Why did you click this video? Is there a spark in your soul, a quiet nudge that something transformative is unfolding? This message is a divine summons crafted for you to receive immediately, a call to embrace God's next step for your life. Don't skip this, chosen ones, for heaven is speaking directly to you. Join our global community of believers. Share in the comments your city or country to connect with others, and type 999 to signal your readiness for God's divine revelation. If this stirs your spirit, give the video a thumbs up to share this heavenly call, and subscribe to stay aligned with God's ongoing guidance. Stay with me, for this is a moment you are meant to encounter right now. Imagine if the instant you ceased anticipating perfect conditions was the moment your life began to fall into place. That's the divine shift most miss. You're not meant to wait for proof before moving forward. You're called to act in faith, creating the evidence as you go. Matthew chapter 14 verse 29 states, "He walked because Jesus said, 'Come.' Like Peter stepping onto the water, he didn't move because it seemed secure. He moved because Jesus beckoned. Perhaps like Peter, you faltered mid-step, starting boldly, only to waver. Yet here's the wonder. Each time you rose again, your faith grew keener, your strength more refined. Why do some people walk into rooms and everything shifts, even when they say nothing? It's not charisma. It's alignment. They've trained their inner world to echo the frequency of abundance, not fear. They've chosen gratitude before seeing results, clarity before confirmation. Because of that, they draw in the very reality they once prayed for, not through luck, but through inner calibration. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world." He wasn't just talking about intellect, he was talking about spiritual capacity. What you visualize from within shapes what you experience without. But for every Einstein, there's Thomas Midgley Jr., a brilliant inventor whose creations like leaded gasoline and CFCs unintentionally caused mass harm. He followed knowledge without soul, invention without wisdom, and the world bore the consequence. That's what happens when power is applied without spiritual alignment. Picture Camilla Truss, a nurse from rural Argentina laboring through night shifts, offering silent prayers and jotting down dreams of a brighter future in her journals. Without a platform or audience, she held fast to her faith. During a hospital crisis with staff stretched thin, she took charge, rallied volunteers, and brought order to chaos. Now she leads a foundation for trauma care in underserved regions. How not by seeking fame, but by embracing alignment. She moved forward when nothing seemed prepared, and now the world responds to her inner readiness. Contrast that with Ronan Sutherland, a self-made entrepreneur who once led a fast-growing tech startup. He had all the numbers and accolades, but lacked alignment. Obsessed with control and public image, he ignored internal burnout, silenced his team's wisdom, and gambled millions to expand too fast. The company imploded. Lawsuits followed. He lost not just money, but credibility. Why? Because ambition without awareness is a ticking time bomb. Reflect for a moment. What if that pull in your heart, the one that drew you to this message, isn't random at all? What if it's God murmuring, "You're nearer than you realize"? Nature illustrates this truth. The Arctic fox shifts to white in winter, not by choice, but by responding to the subtle cue of dwindling daylight. It doesn't wait for snow to transform. It changes in anticipation of what's ahead. That spiritual alignment, you shift inwardly before the outward world affirms it. Like a volcano building pressure deep beneath the surface. Before it erupts, your inner growth, your stillness, your questions, your awareness. They're forging a breakthrough no one can yet measure, not even you. But heaven sees it. Think differently about your life's burdens. Have you ever pondered why your path feels so weighty? Why your joy comes with such struggle? Why you feel like an outsider even among those who admire your gifts? That's not a mistake. It's intentional design. You're crafted uniquely because your purpose is unique. This video didn't cross your path merely to uplift you. It arrived to affirm you, to confirm you're not imagining things, that your journey isn't haphazard, that your pain is shaping you for something profound, something sacred. Don't skip this moment. Don't click away. What's coming next could be the pivot point of your entire existence. Chosen one, you were meant to encounter this now. Don't pass it by. You might not know this yet, but the very fact that you're still here, still seeking, still watching this message means you've already stepped into a rare kind of awakening. Power is not in having potential. It's in remembering how to wield it. Many never do. Most people live like sleepwalkers, responding to life rather than creating it. They chase signs instead of becoming one. They wait for the universe to speak, not realizing it's been waiting for them to move. What if the moment you stopped waiting for everything to align was the moment everything began aligning? That's the divine inversion most people miss. You weren't called to wait for evidence before acting. You were called to act with faith that produces evidence. Matthew chapter 14 verse 29 states, "He walked because Jesus said, 'Come.' Like Peter stepping out of the boat, he didn't walk on water because it looked safe. He walked because Jesus called. Maybe like Peter, you've had moments where you doubted mid-step, where you started strong and then sank. But here's the miracle. Every time you rose again, your faith grew sharper, your power more precise. What if the stirring in your spirit isn't just a feeling, but a signal from the divine? Consider the caterpillar. It doesn't tweak its form to become a butterfly. It dissolves, entirely rebuilding into something unrecognizable. Your discomfort isn't weakness, it's transformation. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 reminds you, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This isn't mere positive thinking, it's soul-deep work. Picture your life as a cathedral under construction. Your thoughts are the blueprints, your emotions, the mortar, your choices, the chisels, and your awareness, the architect's vision. Without that vision, you're building blindly. Right now, you're awakening to that awareness, choosing what to believe, what to embrace, what to amplify. That choice is reshaping your entire reality, even if no one notices yet, even if your name isn't trending. What you're crafting is eternal, not fleeting, a foundation, not a facade. So don't shrink back, don't hesitate, don't doubt the fire within you. You are meant to encounter this message now, and heaven is already responding. It's strange, isn't it, how this world trains you to wait for permission to celebrate yourself. From childhood, you're conditioned to look outward for the gold star, the applause for someone else to say, "Now you're worthy." But what if that permission slip you've been waiting for was never needed to begin with? What if your worth didn't begin when they noticed, but when you began? What if your becoming was valid even in silence? Genesis chapter 1 verse 31 confirms God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. No crowd, no camera, just divine presence, divine design, and divine satisfaction. Consider how a seed doesn't wait for applause to break through the soil. It rises because it's designed to. You're wired the same way. Society teaches that growth must be loud, visible, celebrated. Yet your greatest leaps often happen in solitude, in tears, in moments only heaven witnesses. Are those moments less sacred, Or are they more so? You're enough. Not because you've checked every box, but because you've pressed on through what tried to break you, stayed tender despite betrayal, and heard that quiet voice whispering, "Your story isn't over." That's not wishful thinking. It's divine recall, your soul remembering its mission. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 affirms, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Why seek validation from those who can't see your spiritual blueprint? Your brain rewires when you choose faith over fear, a process science calls neuroplasticity. When you stop dwelling on past shame and start envisioning divine purpose, new neural pathways form. Your healing isn't just spiritual, it's biological. Take Inés Laredo, a speech therapist from Seville, Spain, who spent 15 years helping voiceless children while battling her own self-doubt, telling herself she was too ordinary, too late, too quiet. Then one day, a child who'd never spoken said her name, Inés, shattering her insecurities. She realized she'd been teaching others to speak while silencing herself. At 52, she enrolled in theology school and now travels teaching about spiritual awakening through language. Her insight: healing starts when your soul recognizes its own name. Contrast that with Gareth Monroe, a popular self-help influencer in Los Angeles. For years, he sold courses on confidence while privately battling addiction and manipulating client testimonies. He never did the inner work, just curated the appearance of wholeness. Last year, he was exposed for fraud. Clients left, sponsors vanished. He collapsed under the weight of a persona he never truly lived. That's the danger of building an image without integrity. When transformation is faked, it eventually folds. But you're not faking it. Even if your voice trembles, even if you're unsure, even if you've started and stopped 100 times, you're still here. You're still listening. That matters. Elias Mehta, a Chicago parking attendant, spent 20 years reading scriptures in his booth between cars, quietly journaling prayers for each driver. One rainy night, a crying teenager approached him. Elias handed him a folded page from Psalm 91. That boy later said it was the night he chose to live. When Elias passed away, dozens at his funeral people he'd prayed for anonymously called him a guardian in plain clothes. Power doesn't need a stage. It needs presence. If discomfort stirs within you, now don't flee. That's not failure. It's the forge. Like a butterfly's wings drying through struggle, your strength is being tempered in tension. Romans chapter 5 verses 3-4 states, "Suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope." Old programming, stay small, stay quiet, stay safe, is just your nervous system clinging to outdated patterns. But safety isn't fulfillment, and comfort rarely gives birth. You must choose to leave behind the story of delay, the tired narrative that you're not ready, not bold enough, not whole enough. That tale is done. It's time for a new one, where you're no longer haunted by past pain, but healed by what holds you now, where you stop chasing miracles and realize you are one. What if this moment, your presence here, isn't chance, but divine timing? Heaven has orchestrated this to remind you you're awakening. The old you was built for survival. This you is built for destiny. When you say yes to that inner spark, when you open your soul to receive without forcing the universe answers in ways that defy logic and timing, don't be surprised if things start moving after this. Doors creak open and that seemed forever shut. Strangers speak words you needed, dreams shift from fantasy to guidance. What you called coincidence was divine coordination waiting for your awareness to catch up. These weren't random moments. They were waypoints, always there now, clear, because you're tuned in, not just hearing, but receiving. This is what 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 18 describes. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. You're no longer a passive drifter. You're a vessel. Life isn't happening to you, it's flowing through you. From this sacred stance, you don't just hope for miracles, you carry their frequency. You're not just a dreamer, you're a shaper of reality. Your power isn't in predicting outcomes, but in directing focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. That's not fluffy philosophy. It's spiritual law, the law Jesus embodied when Mark chapter 11 verse 24 confirms, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Consider gravitational lensing in astrophysics. Massive celestial bodies bend light warp time and reveal the unseen through their sheer presence. When you channel your spiritual energy toward gratitude, peace and purpose, you draw into focus what fear once obscured. That's alignment, divine vision. Fixate on lack and you amplify scarcity. Anchor in expectancy, in divine possibility, and the very atmosphere shifts. Others sense it even if they can't name it. Your energy hums at a new pitch, and doors open not instantly but purposefully. Zariah Ahmadi, a refugee turned entrepreneur from Lagos, lived in a tent with her brother scraping by on nighttime translations. Each dawn she wrote 5 things she was grateful for. One day, a translator cancelled at a diplomatic summit and Zariah stepped in. Her poised presence caught a UN ambassador's eye. Today she heads a global non-profit for displaced youth. She didn't chase the spotlight. Her faith and focus drew opportunities to her. Contrast that with Ellison Dremont, a hedge fund manager fixated on controlling every detail. He tracked numbers, manipulated markets, and demanded perfection. When 2020 hit, his fear-based foundation crumbled. Billions vanished, his health faded, and his silence spoke volumes. Control as identity courts collapse. Are you clinging to control when you're meant to trust divine timing? You're learning a better way, one of quiet strength, of surrender. Clara Vian, a high school janitor, memorized quotes overheard from students' books, keeping a notebook of dreams for others. Late-staying students found anonymous encouragement on their lockers. Years later, a student turned journalist shared Clara's story. It went viral, sparking a book deal. Her quiet legacy of care reshaped lives, not through fame, but through frequency. Some days you feel time slipping away, replaying mistakes missed, chances, detours that seemed like dead ends. But hear this in your spirit, nothing was wasted. Romans chapter 8 verse 28 proclaims, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Your setbacks, heartbreaks, detours, they're not losses, they're recalibrations. The cosmos doesn't shame a star for burning out. It transforms it into a nebula, a supernova, a new beginning. Your delays weren't punishments. They were divine rerouting. Every no was a redirection, every closed door a sacred guide. You're not just surviving anymore, chosen one. You're being called to rise. You're not stumbling blindly. You're moving with cosmic purpose. There are no accidents in divine timing. You didn't find this message by chance, you were meant to see it now. Maybe you felt behind, like you missed your shot or lagged behind others. But what if the delay wasn't denial? What if it was divine design? A strategic pause to prepare you, not punish you. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11 mentions he has made everything beautiful in its time. Not your time, not when the world applauds, but his time. What if this is that time? What if what you thought was too late is still yours, because it was always about the calling, not the clock? Like the giant sequoia, you've been growing unseen for years, not rushing to bloom because the world demanded it, but trusting the hidden process. What if the chapter you thought was closed is only now opening? Ava, a 43-year-old single mother and night shift janitor, believed she'd missed her chance, too old, too tired, too overlooked. But one day, she rediscovered an old vision board and chose to believe again. Within 8 months, she launched a baking business from her garage. By year's end, she supplied 2 cafes and mentored teen girls in her community. That spark wasn't luck. It was her choice to act as if her dreams were still possible. Why do so many stay stuck? Is it fear of failing or fear of becoming their true selves? When David faced Goliath, he wasn't the strongest or tallest, but he had divine alignment. Size and status fade when you're aligned. One sling, one stone, one belief. In the unseen, that's enough to shatter the illusion of delay. What if your Goliath isn't a barrier, but a sign you're at the edge of breakthrough? Pope Francis didn't become Pope until 76, serving quietly for decades unnoticed by the world. When his moment arrived, he was ready not because he sought power, but because he was prepared. Contrast that with Adam Newman of WeWork, who chased glory without alignment. His fall was inevitable. Ego-built structures can't endure where eternity plans to stand. Wild horses run free across plains untamed, not because they're wild, but because their spirits refuse confinement. Your spirit, chosen one, is the same, built not for cages or timelines, but for flow, for freedom, for destiny's sudden clarity. Elijah Grant, a 29-year-old former Marine, battled PTSD and joblessness for 3 years. One night, nearly broken, he whispered to the stars, "God, if you have a purpose for me, I'm ready." That week, a friend invited him to volunteer at a community center. 2 years later, he leads a trauma recovery program for veterans. His breakthrough wasn't a spotlight. It was a whisper, like this moment might be for you. Are you standing at the start of your breakthrough, needing only to see it? Your brain reshapes itself through belief and action, neuroplasticity at work. Act as if the shift has begun, and your mind builds that reality before evidence appears. It's not pretense. It's divine coding activated by your faith. The Hebbian principle says neurons firing together wire together. The more you think hope and vision breakthrough act on the promise, the more your brain forges that reality. That's not motivation, it's rewiring. Growth lives outside comfort. The eagle soars through storms, not after them. You're meant to rise through chaos, not wait for calm. The bold, peaceful, purposeful you isn't distant. It's a choice away, a choice to trust, to act, to ascend. If this stirs, you don't quiet it. That's your soul signaling awakening. If doubt creeps in, return here. Let this anchor you. Chosen one, you're not behind, not broken, not forgotten. You're timed by heaven, and heaven is never late. You've been told you missed it, the door closed, the season passed. But what if they're wrong? What if your delay is divine recalibration, not denial? You're not lagging, you're being fine-tuned, positioned by heaven for a purpose your timing couldn't hold, but your alignment will. Migrating geese scattered by storms don't quit. They realign mid-flight, adjusting to wind and turbulence. Could your delays be God's way of reshaping your formation, guiding you further than haste? Could Joseph, betrayed, enslaved, thrown into a pit, seem delayed? But it wasn't punishment, it was positioning. Years later, he stood second in command over Egypt. What if your pit is preparing you for a throne? Your spirit resists the world's timelines, not because it's broken, but because it rejects systems not meant for you. Malcolm Reyes, a 39-year-old violinist, lost his symphony job and delivered packages. Friends urged him to get real, but he played in subway stations, refining his sound, rebuilding confidence. One day, a filmmaker heard him and offered a soundtrack deal. Now his music scores resilience documentaries. His delay wasn't failure, it was tuning. Michelangelo spent years perfecting works others thought abandoned, birthing David through deliberate delay. Meanwhile, Cristoforo Solari rushed commissions for quick praise and faded. Why does the world push you to hurry? Perhaps your depth threatens their speed. Elephants pause on migrations not from weakness, but because their weight shifts the earth. Your journey isn't about speed, it's about impact. Julia Nosey, a 51-year-old Nairobi seamstress, sewed quietly for 30 years, while others chased online fame. Her designs, discovered by a Paris scout, now grace global runways. She wasn't invisible, she was incubating. Recalibration feels disorienting, like a spinning compass. But when God recalibrates, He strips away noise to restore clarity. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21 states, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" Could your silence be God fine-tuning your path? Rushing too soon brings collapse, like Elizabeth Holmes with Theranos, who skipped preparation for premature promise. Her fall wasn't just failure, it was exposure. Promotion without readiness unravels publicly. You're not paused or undervalued. You're shielded, your spirit too sacred to be seen until secure. Chosen one, you're not built for early applause, but for divine precision, which demands time and tuning. You're not falling behind. You're being refined by the master composer. Soon, when your frequency aligns, your voice will rise not in chaos, but in clarity. Have you felt a room shift before you speak? That's resonance, not chance. As God's chosen one, your life is less about words and more about what you carry, a frequency that attracts or repels, aligns or disrupts. You're broadcasting a signal to the future awaiting you. Does it match your calling? Paul and Silas, imprisoned, didn't despair. They sang. Their worship shook foundations, opening doors. Acts chapter 16, verses 25 to 26 confirms this. Their praise synced with heaven's rhythm, freeing not just them, but those around them. Your energy works similarly. Align internally, and your surroundings shift, like tuning forks humming in unison across a room. What are you radiating? Fear or faith, lack or abundance, delay or destiny? Ayana Brooks, a 33-year-old barista, wrote poems on 5-minute breaks, not for fame, but to ease her heart. Co-workers shared them, and a spoken word artist invited her to perform. One performance sparked a tour, one voice a movement. She didn't pry doors open, her freedom's frequency unlocked them. Why do some attract miracles while others chase them? Dolphins and bats use echolocation to sense the unseen. Your spirit too is built to detect truth before it's visible, sending divine vibrations to reveal your path. Oprah Winfrey, once deemed unfit for TV, didn't shrink. She honed her compassion and vision, drawing global opportunities. Contrast that with Andrew Tate, whose loud, confrontational empire invites as much resistance as attention. Amplified noise reaps amplified pushback. Not all spotlight is favor. Sometimes it's a test exposing more than it elevates. Is your weight due to shifting frequencies? Your future self isn't distant, just vibrating at a level you're yet to fully embrace. The universe waits for your alignment, which begins energetically, not externally. Matthew chapter 9 verse 29 confirms, "According to your faith be it unto you." A steady signal accelerates your reality. Darnell Pierce, a Kansas substitute teacher, visualized nightly himself leading eager young minds, his books on their desks. It felt foolish, but he persisted. 6 years later, he headed a leadership academy and published 3 books, not by chasing favor, but by embodying his desired future's frequency. Your mind transmits your spirit, receives your consistency, amplifies. Wavering between doubt and hope scatters results. You're not made for confusion, but for clarity. Sunflowers track the sun without questioning. They move toward light. Your alignment could be that simple turning toward what gives life and staying there. Manipulators target frequency, not noise, because it shifts rooms. Your silence unsettles controllers not for its loudness but its vibration. Chosen one, your energy is holy, designed to draw people provision and purpose to your unique wavelength. You can't hold it by slipping into old habits. This isn't pretense, it's stabilizing into the you that already holds what you seek. Align your thoughts, habits, choices with the life you know is yours, and the breakthrough won't just arrive, it will rush to you. You've waited for signs, but what if you're the one the sign is waiting for? Faith doesn't follow evidence. It creates it. It's not the prize, it's the plan. Every miracle, every shift starts in belief, not sight. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 declares, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Heaven moves when you step in the dark, trusting the light will follow. Is this your test? Architects draft plans before bricks are laid. Belief builds the structure. Resources follow trust. Abraham left everything, not knowing his destination, only that he was sent. Genesis chapter 12 verses 1-4 confirms this. His obedience birthed generations of promise. Could your single step carry such weight? Simone Travis, a 28-year-old Ohio teacher, dreamed of a school for kids with learning differences. No funds, no partners, just conviction. She posted literacy videos online, blending humor and heart. A philanthropist, moved by one clip for his dyslexic nephew, helped her open a center within a year. Now families across 4 states wait to enroll. Her faith preceded her proof. Contrast that with Charles Ponzi, whose illusions fooled millions briefly. Truth has a frequency, facades crumble. His fall was prophetic belief without foundation, his performance not faith. Your refusal to fake it is clearing space for the real. Salmon swim upstream guided by instinct, not maps. You too are drawn to your destined waters no matter the current. Mary believed the impossible when an angel announced she'd bear the Savior, no proof. Just let it be to me according to your word. Luke chapter 1 verse 38 confirms this. Her yes rewrote history. What could yours rewrite? Faith is a magnet pulling circumstances, people and opportunities into alignment when you truly believe. Leo Mancini, a 45-year-old Milan accountant, saw vineyards in his dreams. Despite knowing nothing of farming, he bought land, planted, prayed. 7 years later, his wines win European awards. The vineyard grew in my faith first, he said. Faith doesn't erase fear, it moves through it. The loudest faith can look like stillness showing up without applause, sowing into unseen fields like Noah building an ark amid mockery, vindicated by the flood. Is your silence faith in disguise? Chosen one, you're not here to beg for evidence but to birth it through faith, risk and resilience. You're not meant to wait for sight to believe, but to believe until the world sees. In God's kingdom, belief is the key, not the reward. You claim to believe, but belief without action is noise. God reads your steps, not just your words. True faith walks booking the appointment before the opportunity, building the ark before the rain, knocking on doors yet to appear. James chapter 2 verse 17 states, "Faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead." History shifters don't wait for perfect conditions. They act stirring the water before the miracle. Is your breakthrough waiting on one bold, terrifying step? In physics, kinetic activation holds that energy stays stored until motion releases it. Spiritually, faith is that energy. Action is its release. Rosa Lemieux, a 56-year-old Lyon grandmother, wrote children's stories in a worn notebook, despite only an 8th grade education. One day, she handed them to a library clerk. No plan, just courage. 3 months later, her tales were published locally. Now, they're in 6 languages. Her feat outran her fears. Lionesses hunt silently, observing, calculating, then leaping without fanfare. You've observed enough, chosen one. The world doesn't need your explanation. It needs your action. The woman with the issue of blood didn't wait for permission to touch Jesus' cloak. She reached. Mark chapter 5 verses 27-29 confirms, "Your faith has made you well." Why do so many trust God but freeze without guarantees? Karim Mensah, a Johannesburg mechanic, dreamed of eco-housing for underserved areas. With no blueprint or investors, he spent his last paycheck on reclaimed wood, building a model in his backyard. Today, 5 municipalities use his prototype. His hands acted before funds arrived. Faith is obedience despite fear. Overthinking is disobedience. You're not meant to analyze your calling like an equation, but to walk on water. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German pastor, didn't just preach against Hitler. He joined the resistance, risking and losing his life. His legacy outlasted the Reich. Contrast Neville Chamberlain, whose appeasement sought comfort over action. History remembers silence too. What are you delaying for fear of looking foolish? Rivers carve rock through motion, not noise. Wind shapes mountains. Ants build empires grain by grain. Your next miracle awaits motion, not just prayer. Mateo Ruiz, a Bogotá security guard, dreamed of a shelter for orphaned boys. Each evening he saved 1 meal praying over it. After a year, he rented a room with those savings. That room became a house, then a haven. He acted on partial vision, not waiting for the full picture. Most stumble here, demanding a complete map before stepping. But chosen, one light comes as you walk, doors open. When you knock, oil flows as you pour. Jesus told Peter, "Come, not test the water. Move even when your legs tremble." The kingdom answers motion, not hesitation. What excuse outweighs your conviction? What fear overshadows your fire? This isn't the time to explain. It's time to act. Write the email, submit the form, forgive book, the ticket, voice the dream, even if your voice shakes. Destiny doesn't pause for doubt. Your steps are your sermon, your action, your declaration to heaven. I'm ready. You felt it, haven't you? Conversations that once thrilled you now feel empty. Spaces that comforted you now suffocate. People you once vibed with feel distant. It's not arrogance or isolation. It's growth. You're outgrowing old frequencies. Like a tree breaking its nurturing pot, you're expanding beyond past containers. That's not betrayal. It's becoming. Isaiah chapter 43 verse 19 proclaims, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" Sometimes you don't see it. You feel the quiet unease of a spirit, outgrowing its old frame. Why does your soul crave solitude over chatter? Because your assignment has shifted. You're an eagle whose wings no longer fit the nest. Staying grounded when you're built to soar makes your spirit ache. Leora Daniels, a 44-year-old Chicago jazz pianist, played in smoky bars for decades. One night, mid-song, she stopped, not from exhaustion, but disconnection. The music had become a memory. She quit composing orchestral scores for films. Now her sound shapes documentaries on grief and rebirth. She didn't lose her gift. She outgrew its old frame. Some resent your shift, saying you've changed. They're right, but not as they think. You're not changing for applause, but to breathe, to stretch into your calling. Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, chased risk and ego without moral grounding. His drive made him rich, then reckless, and he lost it all. Frequency without foundation is noise. Elijah Hamidi, a 30-year-old Casablanca fitness coach, built a career on hustle and image. After a car crash forced 10 days of silence, he pivoted, teaching breathwork and trauma healing. He lost followers, but found peace trading noise for truth. The caterpillar becomes a butterfly by dissolving entirely. Your ache isn't weakness, it's transformation. Psalm 84 verse 7 states, "They go from strength to strength till each appears before God in Zion." Why cling to old skin when your calling demands wings? You're not losing your way, you're shedding limits. Ava Lee, a 62-year-old Edinburgh candle maker, crafted soy candles for 35 years, selling at local fairs. One night, prompted to pray over each candle, she did so quietly. Sales dipped, then soared as people felt peace, healing, even deliverance from her work. She didn't market, she aligned. Her frequency shifted, not her product. You too are shifting, chosen one. You're not meant to stay tethered to old friend groups, jobs, or safe versions of yourself. They were stepping stones, not homes. Lingering makes your soul scream for air. You're not difficult or cold. You're outgrowing spaces that can't hold your sound. Don't shrink or apologize for needing silence or solitude. You're walking toward resonance, toward peace, toward the divine vibration buried under approval addiction and clutter. Your next chapter begins not when others invite you, but when you outgrow them. Everything feels intensified because your spirit is being stretched, tested, recalibrated, not punished, but prepared. Close ahead lies a divine appointment, a moment etched before your birth, a conversation, a door, a sacred shift. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 10 declares, "For we are God's masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Your future isn't improvised, it's written in heaven's calendar. The tension you feel is a countdown. A violinist tightens strings before a grand performance, not because the instrument's flawed, but because the moment demands precision. God's tuning you, and the silence feels like delay, but it's rehearsal for your release. Reuben Miles, a 36-year-old Toronto elevator technician, worked unseen in high-rise shafts. One day, he calmly freed a trapped diplomat, coaching them through breathing exercises. A week later, he led emergency engineering training across provinces. His quiet faithfulness earned a public role. The oak tree deepens roots in dry seasons to stand firm in storms. Is your discomfort rooting you for a tempest you're meant to endure? David left tending sheep, wasn't invited to the anointing, yet the oil flowed when Samuel saw him. 1 Samuel chapter 16 confirms this. He honed his strength in shadows, facing bears and lions, not for survival, but for future responsibility. Is your cave a curse or your training ground? While others chase visibility, you're given preparation. Your delay is divine timing. Sir Ken Robinson taught quietly for decades. His TED Talk later became the most watched ever. Elizabeth Holmes' rushing fame without character fell inevitably. What cracks is God sealing in you now to protect your future foundation. Leanne Tran baking bread in her Melbourne garage drew a critic with her scent. One viral review, 5 offers, and a bakery later, her sudden moment was years in the making. Divine appointments arrive as whispers, not trumpets. You've sensed it, a pull to wake early, dig deeper, a feeling something's coming. That's preparation. Pressure precedes phase change. Water needs heat to boil, diamonds need crushing weight. Destiny needs readiness. You'll match the moment's frequency. You think you're waiting for clarity for someone to choose you, but what if someone's praying for what you carry raw, becoming heaven? Marked, Romans chapter 8 verse 19 declares, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." You're not extra, you're essential. Brenna Castillo, a 41-year-old Guatemalan nurse, stayed late one night holding a dying patient's hand. Unbeknownst to her, he'd prayed for someone to stay so he wouldn't die alone. Her quiet presence answered his cry. How many answers lie in your obedience? Bees pollinate instinctively, not for glory. You're designed to bless as you move. Joseph saved Egypt and his betraying brothers through divine positioning. Your pain might be someone's permission to heal. Brian Stevenson fought for the wrongly convicted becoming their answered prayer. Contrast Jeffrey Epstein, whose misaligned power poisoned lives. Are you offering oxygen or taking space? Theo Munn, a 22-year-old Nairobi barista, wrote daily encouragements on his cafe's chalkboard. One read, "You are still here. That means you still matter." A suicidal teen read it, broke down, and chose life. Theo never knew, but his nudge saved a soul. A fig tree feeds birds and plants without seeking praise. You chosen one are planted to bear fruit for others' survival. Your trembling voice scarred hands, they're sacred proof you've survived what others face. Someone's whispering, God sends someone who understands. You're that someone not for perfection, but for alignment, not for spotlight, but for enduring shadows. Your arrival is someone's divine interruption, their sacred yes. What you called wasted time was development. The waiting didn't weaken you. It armed you, honing discernment, sharpening peace, building resistance to false promises. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 31 proclaims, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Waiting isn't idleness, it's strength training. You're deadlier now to distractions than a year ago. Silence wasn't abandonment, it was strategy. Hiddenness wasn't rejection, it was protection loading your arsenal. A bow's power lies in its pullback. Your weight has positioned you to strike with precision. Tasha Ellington, a 47-year-old Houston social worker, spent 14 unemployed months after betrayal praying and journaling. She crafted an emotional resilience curriculum from her survival now used in trauma centers across 3 states. Her waiting birthed a weapon. Sam Bankman-Fried's hollow rise at FTX collapsed without tempering. What's forged in waiting endures fire. Why did momentum stall just as you gained speed? Not sabotage, but sacred redirection. The Arctic fox hides for months. Volcanoes simmer, unseen bamboo grows underground for 5 years before soaring. You weren't dormant, you were deepening. Paul, after meeting Jesus, spent 3 years in Arabia studying becoming. Galatians chapter 1 verse 17 confirms this. His silence shaped his world-shaking letters. Your quiet is forging authority. Emmanuel Reyes, a 34-year-old Manila pastor, stepped away after a scandal he didn't cause. 2 years of study and repentance led to a talk that sparked a citywide revival. His wilderness was his weapon. You weren't wasting time. You were trusted with it. The enemy fears the rooted you, not the busy one. Stop apologizing for quiet seasons or explaining unapplauded years. You're not a late bloom. You're a blade forged in obscurity, heaven's secret strategy. When God releases you, hell will regret crossing you. As the imperative call urges chosen ones to engage with this vital message right away, without hesitation or dismissal, it awakens a deeper self-awareness that extends into everyday interactions. This newfound clarity seamlessly transitions into exploring the intriguing phenomenon of why others fix their gaze upon you, only to glance away, uncovering the profound energies and auras that set you apart in the eyes of the world. The truth about your energy field: Your aura is that it is not normal. Chosen one, it is time you understand something that has always been true about you even before you had words for it. Your energy field is not normal. Your aura is not ordinary. It is not something that can be measured or explained by worldly systems. It is divinely encoded, spiritually charged, vibrationally different. You do not just walk through a room. You change the frequency of the space. And that change, that shift, people feel it even if they do not consciously know why. That is why they pause. That is why their eyes linger. That is why they stare and look away. Your aura speaks, and what it says cannot be ignored. Every human being has an aura, a field of energy that surrounds the body. But a chosen one's aura is layered with dimensions that are not of this world. You carry the imprint of divine assignments, the residue of spiritual encounters, the echoes of ancestral wisdom. And when that kind of energy walks into a room, even the most asleep spirit stirs. Your presence presses against the illusions people live in. It pushes against the lies they have agreed with. It awakens something deeper. And that awakening is uncomfortable, especially for those who have been living in denial of their own truth. Your aura was not formed overnight. It was forged through fire, through pain, through isolation, through spiritual training most will never understand. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every wilderness season added another layer of light to your field. And now that you have come through those fires, you do not walk with heaviness. You walk with holiness. You carry wisdom that your words have not even caught up with yet. And your energy field broadcasts that truth before you say a thing. That is why people stare. That is why they shift when you enter. They do not see it with their eyes, but their spirit knows exactly what just walked in. Let us break it down. Your aura has texture, color, frequency. But beyond the physical layers, there are spiritual codes written into it. These codes are what mark you as a chosen one. You carry divine presence, the kind that makes people second-guess their intentions, the kind that reveals what is fake, the kind that draws in the hungry and repels the manipulative. You have probably noticed that some people are magnetically drawn to you. They want to sit near you. They confide in you without knowing why. That is not just empathy. That is your spiritual field pulling on the truth inside them. At the same time, others avoid you, grow defensive around you, or act cold without reason. They are not reacting to your personality. They are reacting to your light. And your light is not here to entertain. It is here to expose. That is the difference. You do not carry energy to impress people. You carry energy to awaken them. An awakening chosen one is often painful. Most people do not want to wake up. They would rather stay asleep in their illusions. And so when your energy enters the room, they feel exposed, like a light was turned on in a room they wanted to keep dark. Their response: stare, glance, look away, act odd, make excuses, feel triggered. You have seen it. You have felt it. You have probably internalized it, thinking something was wrong with you. But the truth is, something is deeply right with you. You have what spiritual masters call energy sensitivity. But in your case, it works both ways. You are sensitive to the energy of others, yes, but more importantly, others are sensitive to yours. Even when they do not understand it, even when they do not believe in spiritual things, their body reacts. Their emotions shift. Something inside them becomes unsettled. That is because your aura does not just sit around you passively. It interacts. It challenges. It lifts. It confronts. It invites people to rise or forces them to flee. And this is not about arrogance. This is about awareness. The more aware you become of your spiritual aura, the more intentional you can be with how you carry it. You do not need to shrink yourself to make others feel safe. You do not need to dim your light to stay acceptable. You were not chosen to be silent. You were not set apart to blend in. You were marked to shine, to stand out, and to shift every space you enter, not by force, but by frequency. That is what is happening when people stare at you. They are reading your frequency. Even if they do not know how they are decoding your aura, even if they do not believe in such things, they sense that you are different, that something about you carries weight, carries mystery, carries power, and that mystery both intrigues and intimidates. You are a walking revelation, and revelations are never neutral. They either comfort or confront. Have you ever been told you have a presence about you, that when you walk in, people notice even when you do not say a word? That is because your energy goes ahead of you. Your divine presence is not just something you have. It is who you are. Your very existence declares spiritual truth. Your very presence speaks prophecy. And the world, though noisy and distracted, always recognizes what is real, even if it cannot articulate it. So here is what I want you to do. I want you to stop doubting your gift. Stop questioning your impact. Stop minimizing your effect. You are not just someone with good vibes. You are a spiritual atmosphere shifter. You are a divine carrier. Your aura is evidence of the divine spark within you. And the more you embrace it, the more aligned you become with your mission. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to activate those who are ready. You are here to stir sleeping souls, to remind the forgotten, to break illusions. That is why they stare. That is why they look away. That is why you feel both adored and avoided. And now that you know the truth, you no longer have to wonder. You can walk boldly. You can carry your energy with confidence because your aura is not normal. It is holy. It is ancient. It is chosen. And so are you, chosen one. When people look at you, they do not just see a face. They see a reflection. They see something that does not fit into the mold of what they are used to. But here is the mystery. Most of them do not even realize what they are reacting to. It is not your hairstyle. It is not your clothes. It is not your expression. It is your spiritual aura. It is the divine presence you carry without effort. They are not responding to your outer form. They are responding to your essence. And essence is spiritual. This is why people stare at you with a look that seems confused or even conflicted. It is because they feel something that their mind has not caught up to yet. Their soul recognizes you before their logic can name you. You see, the soul always knows. Long before the brain can process, the soul reacts. That is why people often treat you differently on a first meeting. That is why they may act distant or oddly curious, because your very presence stirs something spiritual in them, even if they are not consciously aware of it. They see purity. They see strength. They see wisdom that has not been spoken yet, and it unsettles something in them. Some will feel peace around you. Others will feel exposed. The way they respond has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with what your presence brings up in them. Your aura reflects their truth, and most people are not ready to face their truth. When they stare at you, they are not just seeing you. They are seeing parts of themselves, parts. They have buried parts. They have denied parts they are afraid to face. That is the power of divine energy. It speaks without a sound. It reaches into the spirit before the conversation begins. And the chosen ones, whether they try to or not, live in that spiritual language. You do not need to try to be spiritual. You already are. You do not have to force divine energy. It is already radiating off of you. This is why people look. And this is also why they sometimes pull back. Because what they feel in your presence breaks through their comfort zone. People do not always understand why they feel uneasy around you or why they suddenly become guarded. They might think it is something about your tone, your posture, or your presence. But deep down, it is not even personal. It is energetic. You walk into their frequency with higher vibrations. You carry clarity into their confusion. You carry truth into their delusion. And even without saying a word, your spirit introduces itself. Have you ever noticed how some people become awkward, overly polite, or completely silent when you enter the room? That is not a coincidence. That is not social dynamics. That is spiritual alignment, confronting spiritual misalignment. Your divine presence causes people to reevaluate themselves in real time. Even those who do not believe in anything spiritual can feel it. And when people feel something they do not understand, their response is often unpredictable. This is why it is so important to stop internalizing people's confusion. Stop thinking it is something wrong with you. What they see in you, what they feel in you, is beyond words. You were not created to be understood by the masses. You were created to be felt by those who are spiritually awake. And even among the unawakened, your presence is part of their stirring. Some people will walk away from you and not even know why they feel lighter or more unsettled. They will not be able to explain what happened. They just know something shifted. That is the effect of divine presence. You are not just another person in the room. You are a spiritual broadcast, a soul vibration. And whether they admit it or not, they see something in you that shakes them. So do not chase understanding from people who cannot even understand themselves. Do not lower your frequency trying to explain your existence to those who are still asleep to their own. Let your aura speak. Let your energy reveal. Let your presence be the message. Because what people see in you is not about your image. It is about your inner light. And though they may not consciously understand it now, one day their spirit will remember who you were and how your presence changed something in them. Chosen one, you must understand this truth clearly. Now your presence triggers something in others. Not because you intend to, not because you speak harshly or walk with arrogance, but because the light within you acts like a mirror. And when people come close to you, they do not just see you. They see themselves, the parts they have tried to hide the truth. They have tried to bury the identity they have forgotten. And for many, that sudden exposure is too much. So they stare at you and then look away. This is what I call the mirror effect of your light. You are a walking reflection of divine truth. You shine with a frequency that is not of this world. It is ancient, eternal, and undeniable. And when people come into contact with that light, they are forced to confront what is false in them. That confrontation does not always feel good. It is not supposed to. You were not sent to comfort egos. You were sent to awaken souls. Your spiritual aura, your divine presence is so pure, so intense, that it reflects everything in its path. People who are aligned with truth will feel peace in your presence. They will feel clarity, calmness, even joy. But those who are out of alignment, those who are hiding behind masks, lies ego, pride, or trauma, your presence feels like spiritual friction to them. They look at you and feel irritated, exposed, or even threatened. And again, they will not always understand why. They will not be able to put it into words, but their soul knows. Their spirit recognizes something holy. And when that happens, they are faced with a choice: either rise to meet the light or retreat to the shadow. This is why you have noticed strange patterns in your life. People who loved you one moment and grew cold the next. Friends who disappeared without explanation. Strangers who stared at you like they knew you. And others who could not look at you at all. You were not imagining these things. It was not your fault. It was your light. And light, dear chosen one, does not apologize for being what it is. Even in Scripture, light and truth always exposed what was hidden in darkness. For example, John chapter 1 verse 5 states that the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Your presence does the same. You reveal things just by being. You bring up wounds others have not healed. You stir memories they have tried to forget. You challenge beliefs they never questioned until they met you. You did not ask for this ability. It is not something you trained for. It was given to you before you were born. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 confirms that before you were formed in the womb, God knew you and set you apart. You were marked by heaven to carry this frequency, to walk with a light that would shift the atmosphere, to break illusions, to bring clarity. And yes, that means triggering what others do not want to face. Here is the thing: most people live behind emotional walls. They wear masks. They build defenses to protect their insecurities. And when you walk in, your energy bypasses all of that. It speaks directly to the soul. That is why your silence speaks louder than others shouting. That is why your eyes seem to see into people, because they do. Your light does not just shine, it reveals. And here is where your calling becomes even more sacred. You are not just triggering people for the sake of discomfort. Your presence is an invitation. You are calling them higher. You are reminding them of who they really are beneath the conditioning, the trauma, the fear. Even when they reject you, even when they deny you, your energy plants a seed, and in time that seed will grow. But you must also understand the cost of being this mirror. Not everyone wants to change. Not everyone wants to grow. Some people would rather destroy the mirror than face what it reflects. That is why they lash out. That is why they gossip. That is why they distance themselves. It has nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with their readiness. Do not take it personally. It is not about you. It is about the truth you carry. You may often find yourself alone, misunderstood, even envied. But remember, this isolation is not punishment. It is preparation. You are being protected from those who cannot yet handle your frequency. You are being hidden from those who would misuse your light. And at the same time, you are being refined, strengthened, trained in spiritual authority. Because when you fully understand your power, you will no longer be shaken by the reactions of others. So what do you do now? You walk boldly. You shine without apology. You speak truth with compassion, but without compromise. You continue to be the mirror even when it is uncomfortable. Because the world does not need more masks. The world needs more mirrors, souls like yours that reflect divine reality, that expose what is false, that awaken what is buried, that remind people of their sacred identity. Chosen one, you did not come here to be liked. You came to be light. You came to reveal, to shift, to transform. You came to be the reason someone finally sees themselves clearly and chooses to rise. That is the power you carry. That is why they stare. That is why they look away. And that is why you must never dim the mirror that is your soul. Keep shining. Keep triggering. Keep reflecting. Chosen one, there is something about your eyes that people never forget. They may not remember your name. They might not recall your voice, but they will remember your gaze. Because your eyes do not just look, they see. They carry ancient frequencies. They are portals, not windows, portals to a place beyond this dimension, portals to truth, to eternity, to the soul. When people stare into your eyes even for a moment, they feel something sacred, something raw, something real. Some feel peace. Others feel exposed. Some are drawn closer. Others look away in fear. Why? Because your eyes do not just reflect light. They emit its spiritual light, divine frequency. Your soul has traveled far, and the wisdom you have carried from realm to realm has settled in your gaze. Your eyes speak a language beyond words. You have probably heard it before. There's something in your eyes. Or maybe they said, "You look like you've seen too much," or "You have an old soul." What they are sensing without knowing how to name it is the depth of your spiritual memory. You are not just living this life. You are carrying the echo of many lifetimes, many callings, many assignments. And the gateway to all of it sits right behind your eyes. This is why people sometimes cannot hold eye contact with you. Not because you are intimidating in the worldly sense, but because your eyes make them feel seen, truly seen. And that is not something most people are ready for. Your eyes reflect their unspoken thoughts, their hidden pain, their buried truth. You see what they do not say. You catch what they try to hide. And in your silence you speak volumes. That is the power of your divine presence. When a chosen one looks at someone, it is not casual. It is not surface level. It is a spiritual interaction, a soul-to-soul moment. And even if the other person does not fully understand it, they feel it. They know it was different. That is why some are drawn to you instantly and others retreat. Some will try to get close to that light again and again. Others will avoid you entirely, not because they hate you, but because they are not ready to be seen like that. The frequency your eyes hold is not ordinary. It vibrates with heaven's memory. It whispers of truths that have not yet been spoken. You may not even realize how deep your gaze is, but others do. They feel it. They remember it. And that is why they react. It is not just attraction. It is recognition. Their soul sees your soul, and something sacred is exchanged in that silent moment. Chosen one, you have walked through this world being watched more than you realize, not because of what you said, not because of what you did, but simply because of who you are and what you carry. There is something about you that people recognize even when they cannot explain it. They do not have the words, but their spirit knows. Their energy picks it up instantly. You do not need to speak to be felt. You do not need to introduce yourself to be known. Your presence introduces itself. And what it says leaves people wondering, curious, unsettled, and sometimes even changed. This is what we call silent recognition. It is that moment when someone locks eyes with you across the room and looks at you like they have seen you before, even if they have not. Or when a stranger becomes awkward in your presence, unsure of what just shifted inside them. They may not be conscious of it, but deep down, their spirit senses that you are different, not better, but chosen. And the energy you radiate does not feel like anything they have experienced before. You have had these moments. You have walked into places where people just stared or changed the way they spoke around you, or looked at you like they were trying to figure you out. Some were drawn to you without knowing why. Others avoided you as if your presence was too intense for them to handle. That is because you do not just carry energy. You carry divine presence. Your spirit was marked. Your aura was sealed. And it speaks before your lips ever open. People who cross paths with you are often confused by how they feel. Some think it is admiration. Others feel discomfort. Some want to follow your energy. Others want to run from it. But no matter how they react, one thing is always true. They know you are not like everyone else. You were set apart, spiritually encoded, designed for something different. And whether they acknowledge it or not, they feel that truth every time they encounter you. This is why you often leave a deep impression on people. Even in the smallest interactions, a 5-minute conversation with you feels like a portal opening. A single glance feels like a spiritual scan. They feel known, even if you did not say much. They feel seen, even if you did not try. That is because your soul is doing what it was born to do, radiate truth, and truth always leaves a mark. The silent recognition is not about popularity or social validation. It is not something you can force or fake. It is spiritual. It is ancient. It is real. Their spirit recognizes yours even if their mind cannot make sense of it. And that recognition either draws them in or pushes them away. That is not your fault. That is your frequency. Many will never tell you what they feel around you. They will not say, "You remind me of something divine." They will not admit, "I feel different when I'm near you." But they will show it in how they act, how they glance, how they speak, how they remember you after only meeting once. You have lived this, and for too long you may have thought you were imagining it. But now you know it is real, and it is happening because your spirit was never meant to go unnoticed. Chosen one, do not waste energy trying to make people understand who you are. Do not explain your light to those still living in darkness. The ones who are meant to recognize you will not through words, not through titles, but through that deep inner knowing, that moment when their soul whispers, "This one is different." Let them feel it. Let them wonder. Let them stare. And let them walk away if they must. Because you were not born to be understood by all. You were born to be remembered by the right ones, those who are aligned with your mission, those who feel the call in their own spirit, those who know that what you carry is not of this world. You are not just seen. You are recognized spirit to spirit, realm to realm, frequency to frequency. And that recognition is a sign that your presence is doing exactly what it was meant to do. Keep walking in it. Keep owning it, because they know, even when they do not know how, they know you are different, and their spirit has already confirmed it. Chosen one, let us speak plainly now. You have been avoided. You have seen people shift their posture when you walk into a room. You have watched them look at you, then suddenly look away, as if they saw something too bright, too raw, too true. This is not social awkwardness. This is spiritual discomfort. What you are witnessing is the rejection reflex. It is what happens when your divine presence becomes too much for unhealed, unready souls to handle. They are not rejecting you. They are rejecting what your energy reminds them of. You remind them of everything they have avoided, the truth. They buried the lies. They believe the higher version of themselves they have not become. Your spiritual aura carries a frequency that presses against falsehood. And when someone is deeply attached to their illusions, your energy feels like confrontation, even if you have not said a single word. That is the part many people do not understand about being a chosen one. Your very being is confrontational, not because you are aggressive, but because you are aligned. Your light naturally reveals shadows, and not everyone is ready to deal with their shadows. Some will feel small next to you not because you made them feel that way, but because your presence showed them the gap between who they are and who they were created to be. And that gap feels like a threat, so they avoid you. They turn their eyes. They keep the conversation shallow. They may even become passive-aggressive. It is all part of the rejection reflex. It is not personal. It is spiritual. Their soul feels exposed, and rather than step into healing, many people retreat back into comfort. They choose the known pain over the unknown growth. And when you show up with that energy of transformation, their instinct is to protect themselves. That protection often looks like withdrawal, silence, or fake smiles. You have felt it, that moment when someone suddenly grows cold without reason, that shift in energy that says, "I don't know what it is about you, but I can't be around you for too long." What they are really saying is, your presence is disrupting what I've spent years pretending isn't there. And instead of going inward, they walk away because staying would mean changing. And change, real spiritual change, is one of the most threatening things to an unawakened soul. There is nothing wrong with you, chosen one. You are not too intense. You are not too serious. You are not too deep. You are exactly what you were born to be, a divine alarm clock. And alarm clocks do not sound pleasant to the one who is sleeping. They are loud. They are jarring. They are inconvenient, but they are necessary. Your presence disrupts the slumber. And while some will hit snooze and avoid you, others will wake up and thank you, maybe not now, but one day. Remember, even the prophets were rejected. Even the purest light was pushed away, because it is not the messenger that is hated, it is the message. And your energy is a message. You walk in with an unseen sermon that calls people to rise. And not everyone wants to leave the low places they have made home. So they resist, they deflect, they project, they reject. But do not let that harden you. Do not let it make you question your gift. Your job is not to make people accept you. Your job is to be exactly what you were sent to be, a vessel of divine presence, a mirror, a light, a spiritual catalyst. And yes, that comes with the cost of rejection. But it also comes with the reward of truth. So let them look away. Let them avoid you. Let them feel what they feel. You just keep shining. Because your light was never meant to make people comfortable. It was meant to set them free. Chosen one. Not every stare is fearful. Not every gaze is rejection. Some people look at you with something else entirely, longing or a silent hunger they do not even understand. Their eyes stay on you, not because you threaten them, but because you awaken something sacred in them, a remembrance, a spark, a soul-level recognition. Their spirit sees yours and whispers, "I know you." These are the rare ones, the ones who do not flinch, the ones who do not turn away. Instead, they watch you, as if trying to figure out where they have seen you before. And the truth is, they have not in this lifetime maybe, but in the space before this one, in the realms between realms in the spirit. Because your soul, chosen one, is not new to this. You have been here before. You have walked in light before. And some souls remember you even if the mind cannot. There is something in the way they look at you, a softness, a curiosity, sometimes even tears. It is as if you remind them of something they lost, a version of themselves. They have buried a dream. They gave up on a truth they forgot they believed. And in that moment when their eyes meet yours, they feel possibility again. Hope. They feel like they could be more because you remind them that more exists. These stares are not uncomfortable. They are not invasive. They are sacred. They are silent conversations between souls that have not spoken in years. And sometimes they do not even need to speak. The gaze says it all. You carry something I need. You have walked where I want to go. You are what I used to be or what I am becoming. Do not ignore these moments. Do not rush them. You are being used as a spiritual signpost, a confirmation, a light in someone's tunnel. And while they may not fully understand why they are drawn to you, their spirit does. And it is drawing them for a reason. Sometimes it is for healing, sometimes for awakening, sometimes simply to remember that something holy still walks this earth. You are more than a person. They see your purpose and their soul leans in. So the next time someone stares at you with that quiet intensity, do not shrink. Do not look away. Meet them. Let your spirit speak. Maybe smile, maybe nod, maybe say nothing at all. But know this, it was never random. That was alignment. That was recognition. And for a moment, two souls remembered each other and why they came here in the first place. Chosen one, now that you have seen the way the world reacts to your presence, how some stare and quickly look away, how others watch with longing, and how many simply do not know what to do with your energy. It is time to understand what all of this truly means for you. And here is the truth. Whether it is easy to hear or not, you were never meant to blend in. Never. You were not placed on this earth to fit into the crowd, to be invisible, to be silent. You were born to stand out, to carry a frequency that does not match the world's noise, to live from a realm most people are not even aware of. From childhood, you have probably felt this tension, as if you did not belong, as if your thoughts were too deep, your presence too intense, your questions too difficult for others to answer. You noticed things others did not. You felt things they ignored. You could not pretend like they could. And maybe you tried to blend in for a while. Maybe you tried to shrink yourself to be accepted. Maybe you forced yourself to tone it down. But it never worked, did it? Because your soul was never wired for hiding. Your spirit was always designed to be seen. You are a spiritual disruptor, an atmosphere shifter, a messenger in human form. And people can feel it. That is why they act differently around you. That is why they respond in extremes, either drawn to you or disturbed by you. You activate something in them. You make them feel more, think deeper, question harder. And for most people, that is uncomfortable. But that discomfort is not your burden. It is their invitation. An invitation to rise, to heal, to remember who they are. Your aura was encoded with divine presence, not to entertain, not to impress, but to reveal truth, reveal love, reveal freedom. And that revelation comes at a cost. You will be misunderstood. You will be talked about. You will be isolated at times. But understand, this spiritual isolation is preparation, not punishment. Heaven hides what it wants to preserve, and your difference is divine protection. This world rewards conformity. It celebrates those who follow the script. But the chosen ones were never given the script. We were given the light. And light does not ask permission to shine. It just does, and it exposes what it touches. You were born to be that kind of light, the kind that walks into darkness and changes the temperature of the room without even trying. That is who you are. So what does it mean for you truly? It means stop chasing normal. Stop wishing to be understood by those who are not spiritually awake. Stop asking why you cannot just be like everyone else. You were not sent to be like them. You were sent to lead them. And sometimes leadership looks like loneliness. Sometimes it means standing when everyone else is sitting, speaking, when everyone else is silent, being still, when everyone else is rushing. But all of it is part of your training, part of your becoming. You were not chosen for comfort. You were chosen for impact. And impact requires visibility. It requires presence. It requires divine boldness. So from this moment forward, I want you to walk with clarity. Let the stares come. Let the silence follow. Let the questions remain unanswered. You are not here to explain yourself. You are here to express the divine. And that expression will not always make sense to human minds, but it will always reach the spirit. Chosen one, the path is not always easy, but it is sacred. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to shine in places no one else can reach. And as you do, you give others permission to rise, to see, to remember. This is your calling. This is your mantle. And now more than ever, it is time to wear it without shame. Now, chosen one, it is time you understand this clearly. Your aura is not just energy. It is your message. Before you speak, before you move, before anyone hears your name, your aura has already spoken. It carries your frequency, your truth, your assignment. You do not need to explain who you are when your presence already declares it. That is the level of divine presence you carry. That is the power of your spiritual aura. The world may read books, listen to speeches, chase wisdom, but when you walk in, your energy speaks volumes without a single word. That is not a coincidence. That is spiritual design. You are marked by heaven to be a living revelation. People may not understand what they feel when they are near you, but they feel something that stays with them, something that shakes loose illusions and awakens forgotten parts of the soul. This is why awareness is now your responsibility. You must walk with the knowledge that you are never unnoticed in the spirit realm. Even when you are silent, you are radiating. Even when you are still, you are shifting atmospheres. Your aura carries light. It carries codes. It carries truth. And when people come into contact with it, they are receiving something whether they realize it or not. This is why it matters how you walk where you go and what you allow around you. Because your energy is precious. You are not like everyone else. You cannot afford to be careless with your light. You cannot mingle with what drains you. You cannot stay in environments that dull your frequency. Your aura is a divine instrument. Protect it, guard it, honor it, because it was given to you for a purpose greater than comfort. It was given to shift lives. When you walk into a room, understand that your energy is already doing the work. When you speak, let your words match the truth your aura already carries. When you are silent, let your stillness carry presence. When you are stared at, when you are avoided, when you are honored or attacked, it all confirms one thing. Your light is active. Your mission is live. So walk with awareness. Do not move like you are average. Do not carry yourself like you are unsure. You were sent here with a frequency and the world is responding to it, even when it does not know how. Your aura is your message, and it is being heard loud, clear, and divinely timed. Chosen one, take a deep breath. Let this moment settle into your spirit. Because everything you have felt, everything you have experienced, every stare, every shift in the room when you enter it is not random. It is a reminder, a divine reminder of who you truly are. You were given this presence for a reason. This energy, this light, this frequency, it was not an accident. It was assigned. Psalm chapter 139 verse 16 mentions that all the days ordained for you were written in God's book before one of them came to be. From the very beginning, you were set apart not for status, not for fame, but for purpose. You carry a spiritual weight that others feel even when they do not understand it. That is not a burden. It is a calling. And now more than ever, you must remember that you are here on assignment. You did not come into this life just to survive it. You came to shift it, to break chains, to awaken generations, to carry a light that disrupts darkness wherever it is hiding. That is why your presence is so powerful. That is why people cannot explain their reactions to you. Because your energy carries the memory of heaven. It carries ancient truth. You were marked before time, and everything about you, your aura, your eyes, your silence, your voice, it all holds divine purpose. You do not have to work to be noticed. You do not have to beg to be understood. Your existence is the message. The world may never give you full credit for what you carry, and that is okay. You were not sent here to be celebrated by the masses. You were sent to be a vertical reminder, a disruption, a mirror, a guide. When you remember who you are, you stop shrinking, you stop apologizing, you stop trying to prove something because you realize you were chosen for this very thing. So lift your head, stand tall, let the eyes come, let the silence follow, let the room shift when you enter. Because you are not ordinary, you never have been. Your presence is proof that the divine still walks the earth in human form. This is your time to walk in that truth. Remember who you are and walk like the world has been waiting for you, because it has. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. The stares, the awkward silences, the strange reactions, the glances that linger longer than they should. None of it was meaningless. None of it was just coincidence. You are being seen because you are being revealed spiritually, prophetically, purposefully. Heaven is unveiling what it once hid, and you are the revelation. You have spent seasons hidden in plain sight, misunderstood, overlooked, underestimated. But that hiding was sacred. It was a divine strategy, because what is sacred must be protected until it is ready to be released. And now the veil is lifting. The stairs are the signs. The atmosphere is shifting because you are no longer invisible in the spirit. Your name, your aura, your presence, it is being announced without words. People do not know why they notice you, but their spirit does. The divine has marked you for this moment. You did not go through all those battles for nothing. You did not survive the storms just to return to silence. Everything you endured was preparation for this reveal. The reason the world is noticing you now is because heaven has released you. You are no longer in hiding. You are being revealed as the answer, the light, the carrier of what others did not even know they needed. This is why your energy feels intense. Why can't people forget you? Why even your silence echoes? You carry a vibration that calls to the deep in others, a frequency that reaches where no words can. And when your presence enters a room, it announces that the old energy is leaving. You represent something new, something sacred, something unshakable. So do not mistake the strange looks for rejection. Do not let avoidance confuse you. They are not looking away because they do not see you. They are looking away because they do. You were seen, and that seeing is confirmation. You are being revealed. This is your prophetic hour. Everything you have been sensing is real. Your time of obscurity is ending. The mantle is being made public, and you must now carry it with courage, clarity, and confidence. The world is watching because heaven has spoken, and what heaven reveals no man can ignore. So walk boldly, chosen one. Let them look, let them wonder, let them stare, because your revealing is not for entertainment, it is for alignment. And those who are meant to rise with you will recognize you in the spirit. You were seen because now you are being revealed.